All right, now before we actually get in front of the model, let's just go over the early stages of the figure drawing. Now we're going to use this fully rendered drawing here as our model, as our finished drawing. And let's break it down to the first three steps of the figure drawing. Now we have way down here at the end what we call the gestural construct. Now the gestural construct is very simple in its look. I actually stress to you to work with only 10 to 14 lines. If you're working with any more than that, then you're looking at too much information. The gestural construct is about two big things, two main things. One are the bigger proportions. And what I mean by that are the full width from the arm to the chest, the full width from the knee to the outer knee, the full heights. We're keeping the smaller proportions out of play here. We're looking to place the model using these large proportions and just landmarking the model. The other thing that's very important that we capture here in the gestural construct is the expression of the pose. What is the big movement that's happening through the pose? Is it a beautiful S curve coming all the way down the leg? Is it a beautiful C curve that might be happening on the pose? And not only through the whole pose, but then the individual limbs. Is there an S curve catching this leg, which bears the weight of the figure? The other thigh is just slightly C curved to capture the expression of that. And then the back arm is just slightly C curved. Now we're keeping it very simple in its look because we're not really drawing the figure here. We are only landmarking the figure. Once that's in position, and we've made sure of our proportions at this stage, because if the big proportions are correct here, that will carry us through the rest of the way. So it is very important, this first stage. It is the foundation to the whole drawing. It's the thing that is concrete, it's truth, and it should never change as you add in more information. If you're having proportion problems after that, then we're dealing with smaller proportions. So don't correct your big proportions if they were correct from the first place. So moving on to the second stage of the construct, this is what we call the completed construct. Now the completed construct is to then go in and deal with the smaller proportions. What is the full thickness of the arm that was occupied by the outer arm to the torso, and placing that in? Where is the back of the torso? Where is the back of the bent leg, the thigh and the shin included? Because now we've added three proportions into what used to be two proportions. So as I said, we're getting into smaller proportions. And if the bigger proportion was correct, then the smaller one should fit quite nicely. What we're also doing is placing any props or any fabric or any hair that may exist on the model. So the blocking in of the hair shape, the beard shape, the landmarking of the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the positioning of the fingers, the groin if we have to deal with that, and any surface that the model may be on or any drapery that may exist behind the model. The third stage of the figure drawing is then to deal with the outline, when we actually look at the contour and how the contour moves through the figure. We're looking not only at the outline itself, but we're looking at the background, using that as a shape, a negative shape. The shape between the legs then also has character, and we have to look at it and see what it looks like. And as we articulate that negative shape, we are also articulating then the contour around the legs. Now the articulation of the contour is done in a very straight-lining manner. We're not rounding the contour yet. We're rehearsing exactly where the high points and the low points are of forms that overlap around the figure. And try to work your way into the figure. Try to break the outline so it's not just a cutout shape, that you're looking to see where forms overlap. For example, the thigh muscles overlapping the knee, the calf muscle coming into the shin, the ankle coming out and hitting the contour, that kind of thing. We're also looking at internal forms, the blocking in of the knees, the hips, abdomen, the biceps, and we're positioning more of the shapes in the face. From there, we would proceed on to the light and dark pattern, and so on and so on. But again, I wanted to stress these three early stages. Now, all of these stages are to be measured. We're going to use comparative measurement to do this, and I will specifically get into it when we're in front of the model, to show you how to keep your proportions correct.